of Kaiserreich today, playing in Central America, forming Central America, and then hopefully joining up with the International at some point in the future. Because it's been a while since we've done a kind of like third International aligned campaign. So our current situation, we are starting off as Nicaragua, eventually going to unite Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, all underneath one banner. We are currently we have 3 factories, which is 102. Basically horrible. That's actually like really, really bad. I mean, I know we're building slots. Okay, lovely. Love to see it. We'll get our Army Navy experience. Get rid of this. And we have 2 research slots as well, which is also not good. Not good in the slightest. Hello, Kip. It's good. Welcome. I guess then, I mean, what do you even do with civilian factories? We can't build any factories. I guess we can upgrade like a naval base to be a little bit better, but like, what does that actually do for us? I mean, we might as well. We gotta use it for something, right? Deploy these guys towards the northern border. Have you in charge of this. We'll have you in charge of that. Sounds good to me. We can have up to 2 or up to 5 divisions. We're missing 262 rifles. And these infantry brigades that we actually have are hot. They're so bad. Oh my god. 6 combat with. Lovely. We love to see it. The new Republic of Nicaragua. American occupation of Nicaragua and the reinstallment of Adolfo Diaz effectively made Nicaragua an American puppet state. Fortunately, however, hope was not entirely lost. Liberals across the country rose in armed rebellion to topple the American puppet regime and eventually succeed when the fall of the capital forced Adolfo Diaz to flee to America. The new liberal regime, however, brought very little change and continued to collaborate with the Americans under former liberal revolutionary Jose Maria Moncada. The creation of a militarized national police force known as the National Guard under Antonio Somoza Garcia with the help of the United States Marines further cemented the continuation of the status quo. Dissatisfied with the direction of the new government, several former liberal revolutionaries such as Juan Butas Sacasa left the country. Others returned to armed revolt. The young Francisco Sequeira Morono organized resistance in the north near the border with Honduras, while Augusto Cesar Sandino launched an insurgency in the south. Harried by forces loyal to the regime, Moreno's northern resistance of 400 men managed to retreat south and join Sandino and its 300-man regiment. This newly consolidated force slowly began to retreat into southern jungles while gaining experience in guerrilla warfare. However, this could not last forever. Increasingly desperate, Sandino fled to Mexico in a plane in an attempt to elicit foreign support, while Moreno continued to fight. While in Mexico, Sandino met Emilio Zapata, and two found not only common ground, they even became fast friends. Further bolstered by material support, both from the Commune of France and the Union of Britain, Zapata personally accompanied Sandino back to Nicaragua, along with a small force of Mexican volunteers. His petition improved, Sandino's domestic support began to grow massively, and his revolutionaries began to fight their way north. Once flagging morale boosted Sandino's newfound success, Santa Clara's protests erupted in the capital, and the approach of the Revolutionary Army led to the Marines' retreat to the country's east. The Americans judged the situation of the underdeveloped National Guard hopeless, and the costs of the Marines continuing to hold the capital were prohibitively high. Soon after, the Liberals and their National Guard dogs escaped to Honduras, leaving the capital open to Sandino's final push. Along with this, Sacasa, who retreated to Mexico due to the hate of the former government, returned to help the formation of the revolutionary government. Okay, so our enemies retreated our way into Honduras. Currently, they're led by the Honduran Council. Just like Guatemala and El Salvador. Basically, nobody in Central America is friends with us right now. Hopefully, that will change, but it's not necessarily guaranteed. Currency's been shot. Nobody should be surprised by that outcome. I mean, I guess we could use our... I guess we can use our one civilian factory just to import steel to make our guns produce a little bit faster, which actually is, I don't think, a bad idea. It's like, oh no, you can't produce any weapons anymore. Who cares? We have like 1 military factory. It doesn't make a big difference. And we have no building slots in the country anyways. But 4 guns a day. We are... But I'm only a month and a half short of equipment. That's not too bad. We also have only like 6,000 manpower, which is garbage. Liberation Day. Today's the anniversary of the revolution which liberated our nation from the Americans and their lapdogs. While Costa and Morano were both involved in the revolution, Sandino is more widely credited for the revolution's success. Sandino's popularity has increased because of celebrations, but to supporters of opposition parties, the day only furthers their disdain for the man. They claim that the celebration is, with all its cult-like pomp and circumstances, Sandino trying to brainwash the population. They get a little bit more support for radical socialism. So what are our, we got lingering American influence, political power against bad, war sport's not good. When the present physical cap is not as high as it would, could be. We also have American Revolution, which means our attack and defense of core territory is pretty good. And this is probably American, no, the Monroe Doctrine. Less recruitable population, more stability, but it takes a long time for us to generate any kind of war goal, which I mean is fine. This should go away once the American Civil War begins, so I'm not too worried about it. At least not right now. Let's draw our forces up north. I mean, we're hoping at least one of these three countries will also flip their way towards syndicalism or to socialism. The capitalist economies collapse. For the past few days, the workers and peasants of the world have watched as the bankers, capitalists, and tyrants scramble to reap the benefits of the workers' labor for their own selfish gain. They call it Black Monday, a terrible event, they say. They say that such a collapse was completely uncalled for, something no economist could have predicted. Of course, the workers are no fools. These people see through their lies. As the great philosopher Karl Marx predicted, such collapses are an inevitable result of capitalism. The capitalist abuses and reaps the benefits of the workers. They begin to eat themselves alike like rabid dogs. All this as they leave their workers to struggle and die by the waste as they scramble for the last piece of meat. Our nation, however, has decoupled itself from the capitalist world and has begun the construction of a two-people state. Therefore, we remain unaffected, and only watch the nations of the world are eaten alive by their capitalist overlords. This is a great awakening for the peasants and the workers of the world, and soon the workers of these nations will begin to organize against their oppressors. We must stand by and stand tall as true examples for the workers of the world. Get a little bit more political power out of that. Construction speed is not great. Monthly opinion modifier. But I don't think anybody else in the world right now is actually radical socialist. So I don't know if that affects actually anyone on the planet. Because I do believe that only affects... Like, I guess Mexico and Party Commune are also radical socialists. So those are the only countries we actually get any benefits from that. But they love us. The Casa travels across the countries. The recent celebration of the Liberation Day, Cedeno and supporters have a slight edge of popularity over the other parties. To counter this, Casa has begun a countywide tour to meet with constituents in hopes of securing their vote come April. While so far the campaign seems to have been a success, Cedeno supporters known as the Sandinistas now claim that Casa is disrespecting the Liberation Day holiday, Cedeno himself with this move. Some prominent Sandinistas have even called for violence against Casa himself. So it looks like there will be elections come April. Well, right now it's February, so we still got a few more months until that actually begins. And it looks like, not surprisingly, China is starting to break out into civil war. The Casa speaks out. While abroad, I have had the pleasure of the company of many good-natured men of influence and the fortune to learn the fundamentals of good governance and political practice. I now realize that to attribute our present state of isolation to some global conspiracy would be foolish. The nations of the world on the whole anyway are good. We'd be better served to stand together with those who would have us against the imperial tendencies of the great powers of the world. The dreams of the liberation of all of Central America, and perhaps the independence of Nicaragua itself, rest on our own willingness to employ greater moderation in our foreign policy. The present preservation of liberal thought in our nation is is sad indeed, and I am here to say today, we must no longer turn our backs on destiny. Thank you. A fierce applaud followed. So more popularity for the social liberals. We need any public support? The 100 political power. And it gives us more like party popularity. And that would take about half of a year to get done, which is not, it takes a while. That's a long time. So we'll go up to partial mobilization. Unfortunately, we can't go to extensive. We're already unlimited. I mean, 6.7 thousand manpower, like, not very good at all. I mean, we're getting a negative 25% modifier. I mean, I guess there's only 500,000 people in the country to begin with, right? The Sandinistas rise up. With the spiking popularity of the PRL, Sandinista radicals have begun disrupting liberal rallies in the capital in support of Casa. The violence has reached a breaking point with protests shut down by the Revolutionary Guard in response to violence. These radicals are beginning to hurt Cedeno's reputation, as he has so far refused to take any action to stop these incidences. Some have even hold suspicion that he is behind the violence. The Costa, for his part, has taken advantage of the situation, stating that these acts are thuggery, are representatives of both Sandino and his base. So the PRL right now is 26% of the vote. We're at 31. Okay, so yeah, again, that's just more wars going on in China. Nothing too crazy should be going on there. Afghanistan will probably lose the war against the Entente. I don't think they ever really have any chance of actually winning that war. And aside from that, everyone else seems like they're doing pretty okay. Do we have any equipment? We're missing only 19 rifles, which is not that bad. If I was to throw in, you know, one more infantry here, you're missing 200, it would go up by 1,000. So that's an extra 2,000, 3,000, no, 4,000. So I think this would be another 6,000 manpower, which I think is okay. We'll only have like 700 troops in reserves, but our army will be a lot better for it, and I think that's worthwhile. Okay, so Australia has once again returned to democracy. Good for them, good for them. We'll see if that lasts or not. I'm kind of leaning towards that it will not last. That's my prediction here. Okay. Marino's yearly visit. For 4 years now, Marino has been on a tour of the countryside and for our nation's most isolated rural villages. Although the revolution has precipitated a significant rise in his social status, he remains a source of great pride and standard to aspire to the peasantry who see him as one of their own. Popularity has risen slowly but steadily over the years, thanks in part to his activities in the countryside. And he now has managed to position himself as the new compromise candidate between Sandino and Sakasa. The nation holds its breath in anticipation for his full entry into the race. I mean, apparently the election's supposed to be... Is the election not supposed to be tomorrow or next month? Let me see, does it say in here when the election is? Okay, it just says 1936. But it doesn't necessarily say exactly what month. I could have sworn like the one event did say April, but... Marino speaks to local children. You children will be our future, and you must never forget that. Even if you do feel hopeless, you carry on the revolution even if we fall. My intention is to always stand for you, the common people. Hell, back in my day, I couldn't read and there was no money. So I stand for the common man. This includes all of you to ensure that we won't have to live the same life I did, for the better of Nicaragua and all of Central America. And it looks like Moreno secured himself another village. So it looks like we're still technically the biggest party. The PCN is doing pretty well for themselves. The PRL is doing pretty well for themselves. I'm assuming I'm going to get the vote, you know, who actually ends up winning. Go for more research speed. Thank you very much. And Sandino speaks up. Violence that has committed in the name of our righteous cause when directed against our own nation, our own people, is unacceptable. The actions of those few who would lower themselves to such behavior are slowly but surely ripping our country apart, distracting us from our true goals of spreading the revolution to Central America and freeing our brethren across the world. I beseech all those who have even a shred of dignity to return to peace, that Anistos have ceased to engage in political violence. We got another little bit of support there. Because who else is actually in, we got the PNR, PSN, but I don't think they really have any actual support here at all. You got Uno, AL, PLN, PC. The Third International. France has gone through, was designed to hold the first conference of the Third International, and as we expect, we have received an invitation. It would be foolish for us not to send a delegation. Yeah, we'll send a delegation then for sure. Hello, Bopez. Welcome to the stream. All delegates have arrived. Heads of socialist, syndicalist, and Bolshevik parties, heads of state and governments, foreign ministers, and generals have all arrived in Paris for the opening of the first Congress of the Third International. It is time to open the doors and take to the stage. Now that everybody is assembled and the Congress has begun, it's time to take the stage to open discussion. The Prime Minister took the stage first and discussed the purpose of the Third International. As if the purpose of the Third International is made more clear, discussions will begin. I think we've already read these events before. I'd be surprised if we have not read these events before, let's be honest. I don't know why Nicaragua would have their own unique things here. Syndicalism in Spain. Apparently, okay, Spain will hate our government. That's fine. The second election. At last, the incessant campaigning is over. It is time for the elections to officially begin. Although it is not first predicted for Cedino to win the election easily. No, although it was first predicted for Cedino to win the election easily, recently his fall in popularity and Cedino's rivals, like Costa and Marino, have capitalized on the situation. The Costa primarily finds support among the small urban upper class and minor landowners due to the two candidates' worrying redistribution policies. I just woke up, can you tell? Marino's main base support is rural peasantry, from which he himself originally hails. And finally, Cedino's very mixed support base, which mainly consists of youth and those who were involved in the revolution with him, resulting in his followers being very fervent in their belief of him. Everyone seems to have a chance in this election, but the result ends up being that Cedino has kept his mantle as president. Got the new election. We'll follow you up with... We now can actually finally do some focuses. Okay, and now the United States hates their government. Unemployment and radicalism in Latin America. Latin American countries are hardest hit by the stock market crash in Berlin, and there has been a great awakening among the people. Socialist and syndicalist parties rule larger by the day, paired with unemployment. We should decide our policy in Latin America, where left-wing radicalism is ripening. I think that might just be a generic international event. Okay, women's role in World Revolution. We'll do, you know, working women. We're going to lose a little bit of stability off that, but that's okay. Algerian socialist. The White Terror. It just says one division. I'm not too sure what that is. Okay, opportunity. Again, I'm 99% sure we've read these events before, so we don't need to read them a second time over. You can pause if you want. You can't pause on stream, but if you go back and watch the YouTube videos, you can pause and read these for yourself if you so inclined to do so. The Sandinistas organized a celebration. Cedino's election saw a immediate reaction among his loyal Sandinistas, with the huge celebration taking place in the capital. Surprisingly enough, for their Sandinista celebration lacked extreme violence like the other protests and celebrations of the past. Cedino and others have described this as a step towards peace in Nicaragua and for the revolution. Many are distrusting of this, however, thinking it's a facade to make foregoing organization despite their violence. So we're going to lose a little bit more stability, but I'm not too worried about that. So we are going to get recovery rate plus 5%, more recovery rate, less defense, but more attack on core territory, some more support. And I'm guessing we have to do one of these. Make a move against the United States. I'm assuming we can only make a move against the United States once the American Civil War actually breaks out. Like, that makes sense to me. Yeah, like, we have to, this has to be after the Civil War. It doesn't make any sense for it to be before then. Afghanistan is now at white peace with the Entente. Nothing too surprising there. Can we do any... I want to get more war support. And conscription so I can actually train units that are not garbage. We'll make our factories just a little bit better. Cedino's inauguration! Cedino's inauguration has occurred today with the most noticeable people arriving being Marino, who congratulates Cedino on his victory in the election. The other was the president of Sandinistas, whose constant screaming and celebration was seen as mildly disrupting towards the event. Something everyone noticed, however, was Acosta not arriving at all, or even issuing a statement, which has suddenly caused some extreme divides in the social and liberal camps in Nicaragua. But who knows, maybe he just forgot. I don't know if that's true. It seems unlikely, but okay. Just ignore this. We don't want to do those. We'll save our political power for maybe get some military staff, or just to get a lot of these laws done very, very quickly once they become available to us. Research beats. What have we got the Social Democrats? I feel like it'd probably be a little bit... Multi-population. Okay, Baltic Duchy's collapsed. Which is good for us. Again, we want the Reichspakt to be as weak as possible for future movement in Europe. Because eventually we do want to join the war with France and Britain and against the SRI. Against the Reichspakt. I'm wondering... Mexico is no longer in the Third International. They're no longer socialist. That is a major problem for us. So they've gone for the military junta. I don't remember if the junta can actually be overthrown again. I'm not too sure. We might need to do like an early intervention in Mexico, depending on how things go. We'll kind of have to wait and see. If they join the Entente, we're going to be in a tricky situation. Let me just put it that way. I don't know if Mexico can join the Reichspakt. I've never seen that happen. I've seen them join the Entente, but never with the Reichspakt. So I'm leaning towards that actually as not actually being like a possibility for them. Okay, let's go for some... I mean, what research do we want? We have some generic companies here. No, let's go for more recruit population. We do need more troops in the battlefield as soon as humanly possible. How many troops do you guys have? 1 to 3, 1 to 5. So, I mean, nobody here really has like a huge army. The Social Revolution. When do you actually unlock? Social Revolution has been adopted. Maybe that's just when the third of this tree is finished, then this unlocks. But again, I'm not too sure. It might just be like, hey, this date has passed. Event fires. Now you can do like the nice focus tree.